Okay, let's dig into the economic challenges that are ahead for Prime Minister Carney. We're now joined for more on that by Moshe Lander. He's a senior lecturer of economics at Concordia University, joining us from London, Ontario today. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Hello.
Hello. So you were obviously, I assume, listening to what the Prime Minister had to say at this press conference. Given the ongoing trade war, what do you think that his approach should be as he goes to negotiate this coming Tuesday?
Well, you could even see in the press conference that he's everything that Trump is not. He was calm, he was cool, collected, he had a message, delivered it quite cleanly in both languages. And so I think that's really what he's trying to highlight then, is that when he goes to negotiate, everything is on the table, but he's not going to make a bad deal for Canada. That's what he said during the election campaign. It's what every Canadian should be expecting right now, is that he understands the gravity of the situation, and he's going to make sure that Canada comes first in those talks.
So he also talked about his economic priorities. What stood out for you? What did you make of that part of it?
Well, you know, what's interesting is that a lot of the stuff that he's looking to address, whether it's cost of living, affordability issues, balancing the operating budget, really the underlying cause, and he did allude to it, was the productivity problem. He said that he was going to try and balance the government's operating budget on the back of productivity improvements. That's what the economy needs as a whole. He did allude to it during the campaign, but he didn't mention it today. I'm worried that he might be backing away from it. Mark Carney, the economist, knows that Canada's problems all revolve around productivity issues, and everything can be solved if you can figure out a way to unleash Canada's productivity performance that's really been lagging for the better part of the last 40 years. This is not a Justin Trudeau problem. It's a Canadian government problem that goes back decades.
He's also saying that he plans to limit the number of temporary foreign workers and international students to less than 5% of the Canadian population by the end of 2027. Is that feasible, considering the economy's reliance on them? And we're talking about productivity being a problem?
Well, I mean, he can limit in whatever way he wants to. Effectively, what he's talking about is 1 million people. When you dress it up in percentages, you're missing the aggregate number, right? 40 million Canadians, give or take, and about a 2.5% swing. He said 7.3, bringing it down to 5%. Back of the envelope for me, that's about 1 million people that he's looking to try and remove. That's going to be a problem to me. What it might do, though, is remove a source of demand, not just for housing, but for a lot of government services that have failed to keep pace with immigration numbers. The big problem is that if supply doesn't keep pace with demand, you're going to either find shortages or you're going to find an escalation of prices. So maybe what this is meant to do is just give some sort of breathing space for cities, the provinces to catch up and then resume immigration. Because you're right, without immigrants, without temporary foreign workers, without foreign students, universities are going to have a very difficult time with their operations, and so are a lot of businesses that will require those temporary workers to fill in those gaps.
Okay, so let's talk housing, because you mentioned it here. He's got plans to create a new housing entity and provide $25 billion in funding to private developers, aiming to build, quote, twice as many homes per year with Canadian materials. Will that tackle the affordability crisis, and is it at all doable?
No. So the first bit with the Canadian materials, look, when he's highlighting that the big issue right now is our relationship with the U.S., you got to put Canada first. That's fine. But the problem is that those Canadian materials were always available. And so if builders weren't using it, it's because there was a more efficient way of doing it with foreign materials. And so this is going to increase the cost of building homes. That's going to make it less likely that home builders want to engage. The real problem, of course, with the housing market is at the municipal level. It's zoning laws, it's a lack of tradespeople. And so this is not necessarily going to address that problem. But the other aspect is that the federal government really has no business dealing with the housing problem. That's a municipal issue. And so I think that this is a lot of window dressing. If the BCA that he's looking to create is going to try and help municipalities unleash the ability to create more loose zoning laws and to allow more dense development to come along, then hey, great. But if they're going to actually get into the act of home building itself, I don't know why the government has any responsibility for that whatsoever. And they should be highlighting that it's a municipal issue. Call your local mayor, city councilor if you got a problem.
Moshe Lander, senior lecturer of economics at Concordia University. Thanks so much for your time.
My pleasure.